The Bengals won the Super Bowl. I was right. Douglas, you were right too. Ryan was wrong. Let's go. We obviously knew Joe Burrow was going to win, right?
Of course. I mean, who else would win?
If only what Ryan thought actually happened more often. Well, it doesn't. I was right. You two were wrong.
I mean, you did say that they're going to win by like 40, and I feel like it was a pretty close game. Like
I didn't specify the amount of
And
points.
I did say
Let's
a
be
3-point
real.
game.
You also said that they would win by.
Then I went back on it. I was like, it's going to be.
I said by a lot, and it would have been by a lot if it wasn't for that Fugazi touchdown scored by T. Higgins. The offensive pass interference where he ripped Jalen Ramsey's face off.
Yeah, the Super Bowl was a while ago, but
there was an interception on the play after that where the Bengals got the ball back. So, if it wasn't for terrible officiating that moment, I think it would have been a blowout.
Terrible officiating for both sides. That Logan Wilson, I don't know if
I thought it was a great call.
Contact. That was a horrible call.
I thought it was a fine call.
I mean, Ryan, I feel like Douglas actually going to agree with me on this.
It was really close, and it could have gone either way. I don't.
Yeah. It could have gone either way. But what couldn't have gone either way was T. Higgins ripping Jalen Ramsey's face to the ground and scoring a touchdown. That was on par with the no call.
It doesn't matter. It was
2018.
It wasn't third down. It wasn't third down. It was third down.
It doesn't matter. It was a 70-yard touchdown.
Yeah, I mean,
it was.
And the play after that was an interception, none of which would have happened if
that game.
And I hate to play that game where we talk in hypotheticals and theoreticals and this and that, but the Rams, it was the Rams game.
I mean, it wasn't.
Odell went down.
Yeah.
Stafford was better. The Rams were better the entire time. And the Bengals didn't have Cooper Kupp. He scored 2 touchdowns. And at the end of the day, I was the only one here picked the Rams to win that game. And, there was never a doubt that was going to happen. Never a doubt.
It
was a century lock. The Rams won. My wallet thanks me for that. And yeah.
I mean, just to go back, I did say it's going to be a 3-point game, so I feel pretty good about that. But I did say the Bengals were going to win.
I feel pretty good about when I drink water when I wake up in the morning. But at the end of the day, I was right. The Rams won. So.
You were right.
Ryan was right. Ryan was right. Oh, what about our key matchups? We had. What do we have? We had Jalen Ramsey versus Jamar Chase. I feel like Jamar Chase he won the matchup. I mean, who won the game? He didn't have that good of a game. He had, I would say, for his standards, he had a pretty average game. But against the best cornerback in football, I would give him the W. I wouldn't say that it was. I think, Ryan, you were actually saying this, and I would say you got this right. It wasn't really a game-breaking thing because they're both top of the league in both categories.
Positions. It was exactly what we expected. A few big plays for Jamar Chase and a lot of back and forths. That's exactly what we said was going to happen, and we saw it on the field. We saw Jamar Chase capture a few really big plays down the field. Jalen Ramsey flailing behind him, and other than that, it wasn't too loud. I don't believe Jalen Ramsey followed Jamar Chase. I stated that. I said Jalen Ramsey really hasn't tailed a receiver this year, even when he played DeAndre Hopkins, stuff like that. So. It's what we expected to happen.
For sure. I'll move on to my next take, which was the Rams defensive line versus the Bengals offensive line. I would say that I pretty much I was kind of wrong because I think he got sacked 6 times or a significant amount where it definitely hurt the Bengals a lot. But Joe Burrow was able to get out of the pocket, improvise a lot. However, AD, like we expected, I know he had a few sacks. He should have won Super Bowl MVP in my opinion.
He had the most important play of the whole game right at the end.
That is true. Yeah, I think for that play and some other plays, he should have won Super Bowl MVP. I don't know.
I wouldn't have hated that, but I thought Kupp deserved it.
Yeah, Kupp was phenomenal.
The Bengals O-line, it wasn't as dominant. The performance from the Rams D-line wasn't as dominant as I initially thought. I didn't think it played that big of a factor. It obviously played a factor, but that big of a factor. I thought Leonard Floyd came on strong. He had a great game. And that's what I expected because when you have Von Miller and Aaron Donald on your D-line, that's what you have to focus your game plan on. And then you have great guys, like good guys, not great guys like Leonard Floyd. That's where they get a piece of the cake because Donald's stealing the show, Von Miller's doing his dances, and then you have Leonard Floyd coming in here and getting some sacks. So.
Very underrated player. Very like scrawny player. Like I'm saying he's much bigger than me, but like compared to other linebackers, he's pretty thin. And he's a great player, very underrated player. Agree what you said, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm not gonna speculate on his physique that I don't know much of. But, I'll leave that to Ryan. So.
I don't know what you guys. I don't remember exactly. I don't know what you guys said for like Super Bowl year guys. I forgot what segment Ryan did.
One thing I talked about was the matchup between Zach Taylor and Sean McVay, the master versus apprentice kind of thing, where the former assistant is now a head coach taking on his former boss. And I thought it really was a great battle. I mean, clearly Sean McVay had a great game plan. He did a great job for the most part, preventing Joe Burrow from getting going. Such that one big play to T. Higgins, which shouldn't have, as he said, shouldn't have been a big play. There really wasn't much going on the Bengals offense much of the game. So I think that coaching McVay really showed how he's a superior coach and really did a great job preparing his team for the matchup.
I think we're back. Sorry about that. Just had some technical difficulties, but I think we're all
sorry.
Good. My memory's horrible. I don't know what we were just talking about. Douglas. Oh, the coach battle.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. I don't know what else we mentioned. I think those are the main ones. I don't know if you guys. I know Ryan talked about Cooper Kupp. He was pretty good. I don't think he was that much of a game breaker. Besides the fact that he won Super Bowl MVP, psych I lie.
He had a great
game. I was joking there. Ryan was right again. I would say that Ryan.
I wrote the book. The Super Bowl lives in my head. I wrote the story, and it happened exactly how I said it would.
It did happen. It really did. I gotta say,
it seems like a common theme. Rational thinking. Thoughts from.
Trevor, so we were. What do you mean? I said that.
Yeah, of course.
I wish.
Right. It's a fascinating story how it happens every time and time again, and I'm right pretty often. I find so.
I don't know about the draft. I think you're more about like a Super Bowl predictions, but like personally,
I'm not a draft expert. I'm a game analyzer. Yeah.
Okay, should we move on to our next topic? Should we talk about the combine draft? I think that was a good Super Bowl recap.
Yeah, sure. So the combine started yesterday. We're filming this on Wednesday, March 2nd. The combine started yesterday and Tuesday. A lot of interviews with coaches today. On-field workouts, I believe, start tomorrow or Friday, which is very exciting.
I think they start tomorrow. I think so too. Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't know who goes.
I think it's running backs and tight ends on the first day.
Running backs and tight ends, so we can see some.
Here, I'll check the schedule right now.
Some Brian Robinson, some Tyler Algier, potential target for the Jets, BYU, ex-Zach Wilson teammate, or I guess Zach Wilson was his ex-teammate, or both. They're both ex-teammates because Zach Wilson obviously declared and was drafted number 2 overall last year at running back. And then tight end, we have some – I know I'm talking about the Jets because this is all three our favorite teams. But we have tight ends like Trey McBride, Jeremy Ruckett. My favorite tight end in the draft. Isaiah Likely. But I guess we'll dive right into it in our guide.
And just quickly before we get into that, so tomorrow is tight ends, quarterbacks, and wide receivers.
Yeah. Quarterbacks also. So yeah, tight ends though. One of my guy who's going to be going tomorrow is Greg Dulich, UCLA tight end. He is he's not the best in blocking, but he's a great receiving option. He reminds me a lot of Dawson Knox. Also, the fact that he looks like Dawson Knox, his hair is very much like Dawson Knox, but he has great speed. He's just a great receiver. And that is, I feel like, what a lot of teams are looking for more and more in tight end. And you need to be able to take advantage of matchups against linebackers, against nickel cornerbacks. And yeah, that's my first guy, Greg Dulich, UCLA tight end. I think that he's probably like right now around early 4th round talent. I think he could jump up to late of the 2nd round, but overall, I think he's potentially could end up being the best tight end in the draft. Comes out of
so one tight end that I think is being overlooked a little bit is Jeremy Ruckert from Ohio State. This is a guy who is in an offense with loads of weapons and Olave and Wilson getting a lot of attention right now, and a lot of other good receivers. Like the guy who in the
I know what his name is.
who had
It popped in
a
my
massive
mind.
game late last season. I'm blanking on his name, but he had like 300 yards or something crazy like that. So Ruckert was never a top option, but there was so much
Myth and
talent.
Goat, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Very
So
long. I
Ruckert,
think he has two last names.
yeah, I think so too. I forget
The
exactly.
hyphenated last name.
Yeah.
Let me find it.
Thank you,
Oh, you
thank
like
you, Ryan. So he's really has time to shine in college. The offense that he was in did not utilize him that much, but he won the Senior Bowl and looked very impressive. Turned a lot of heads there and made a lot of big plays. I think I'm looking forward to watching him perform tomorrow, and seeing how he does.
Yeah, and I totally agree. But his name is Jackson Smith Najigba. I think it's
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Najigba.
good
Yeah.
pronunciation.
Yes.
And yeah.
Douglas makes a good point on Jeremy Ruckert. He didn't get a lot of attention at Ohio State, and that's his fault. He shouldn't have gone there in the first place with all the receiving weapons in their scheme. Like he had every offer coming out of high school. He's like the number one tight end recruit, and he waddled his way to Columbus, Ohio. Like what the hell? Who goes to Ohio? Whatever. I don't think he's overlooked per se, because I think the narrative around him right now is that he has so much talent and that people know that they didn't scheme for him. So I think he'll get looked at on like a late day 2, early day 3 pick, but he does have a lot of boom potential to be like like one of those mid round guys like Dawson Knox, who like just shows up for your squad. So no idea who the guy Ryan was saying is, because I'm not a draft expert. I don't know who random college football players are. I do know Jeremy Ruckert though, because I am on Jets Twitter. So he's also a Jets fan, might I add.
One more thing that I wanted to mention about Greg Dulich is that he did have a great Senior Bowl. That's another reason why he sort of popped up into talks and into my head. He was probably the top performer at tight end. I know Trey McBride probably had the best stats in the actual Senior Bowl game, but in terms of Senior Bowl practices, Greg Dulich was the guy.
And looking at his stats this year for UCLA, he had 42 catches, 725 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So he performed pretty well in that offense.
Wait, you 425? Is that what you said?
725.
725. That's what I thought.
Yardage.
Okay.
With 42 catches and 5 touchdowns.
All right. What position? Should we move on to quarterback next? I know I have quarterback is like sort of a mess. Personally, I haven't really looked that much into it, and I feel like you guys haven't either, as we're Jets fans. That's not a need at all for us, as we have Zach Wilson. I can get right into it though. 2 quarterbacks that I like a lot. Obviously, Malik Wills. Or Malik Willis. It's Malik Willis, right?
Malik Willis, yes.
Some people say Malik Willis for some reason, but it is me, Malik Willis.
They're stupid.
Yeah, Malik Willis. He's jumped up. He's I don't know. It's just like so hard. Like he has so much potential. He has the arm, he has the speed, he has everything like that. And he did seem to put it together in the Senior Bowl game and the practices. However, at Liberty, he wasn't necessarily the best quarterback. And of the top 7 quarterbacks, he's probably the worst of them in game. However, he has that potential. Another guy like that, Carson Strong, I think he's from Nevada. Nevada. Yeah, he's another one of those guys. I do feel like he maybe doesn't have the highest ceiling as Malik Willis, but does have a very high ceiling. And personally, I feel like he's shown more on the field and played better than him. So another one of those guys. Yeah. I don't know if you guys want to.
Well, I'm a fan of Sam Howell. Slightly biased. I'm a UNC fan, but Sam Howell's been a dog from day 1 at UNC, and now through his 4 years, he's a stud. And he didn't have a great year, but he had no help this year with UNC. Crappy O-line, receivers left, running backs left, so he wasn't dealing with much. And one of my favorite sayings is potential is overrated. Sam Howell, he's like Baker Mayfield. He did it in college. He can come in the NFL and he can do stuff. You're not banking on his decision making to improve or his arm strength or to help him succeed in the NFL. He's a pro style quarterback who who can use his legs and make plays down the field. So, while Malik Willis probably is the highest ceiling with his mobility and arm, Sam Howell, he'll go in there and be better from day one, which doesn't really matter, honestly, but it also means that he has a strong chance of being better on day 1 million, day 1,000, because potential is overrated and the bust rate for quarterbacks is extremely higher than people like to let on. So
I don't mean to cut you off, Douglas, because you're next up, but I completely disagree. I couldn't disagree more with Ryan on this take. An average quarterback simply cannot win a Super Bowl unless he's surrounded by immense talent. And that's why you need to draft for potential. There's so many good quarterbacks or an average quarterbacks in the NFL that it's so important to get that quarterback, to get that Herbert, to get that Burrow, to get an X factor quarterback.
Yes, but I think that in this draft
average
class,
quarterback.
there's no one who has that Burrow or Herbert potential. So while I tend to agree with you that like ceiling is very important, looking at like the top, like in drafting your franchise quarterback, and I do think that drafting someone to be Baker Mayfield isn't a recipe for success, because Baker Mayfield has been average at best in his NFL career thus far. But I think that when you're looking at this draft class specifically, when there's no one guy that jumps off the page as the clear QB1 that has like all the tools to make it, where they're all like positives and their downsides to every player, I don't think you can certainly say that the safest one of the safer choices isn't a bad pick. But
I think Ryan made an exceptional point. He's right. Like, you're right. You have to draft for potential in today's league. Like, you're right. But the thing is, Sam Howell is not going in the top 20 picks of the draft. So it becomes a different story. Would you draft Baker Mayfield in the second round? I would. I would draft Baker Mayfield in the second round. So that's what I'm saying here. And maybe I should have made that more clear. Maybe I should have made that more clear. I wouldn't take Sam Howell in the first 20 picks of the draft. If I'm taking quarterback in the first 20 picks, you have to take Malik Willis, because you have to draft for potential, because you're right. You probably can't win a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield, especially when you have Allen and Mahomes and Rodgers and Kyler and Lamar and all these guys can do exceptional things.
Zach Wilson.
And Zach Wilson, and I don't know who Russell Wilson is, but and Justin Fields has traits. Lance has traits. Mac Jones.
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love is the future.
Jordan Love was drafted for potential. That's it. Like, he wasn't that good in college. He was drafted for potential.
He was horrible. Okay, but with Jordan Love, he was actually like horrible in college. He threw like 19 touchdowns, 12 picks.
And I guess like my potential is overrated term applies more to other positions for the draft.
I just feel like,
or in the league, I would say, and once you're in the league, it more applies to, because having hope for someone who has potential, I'm not a big fan of, because potential just means you haven't done it yet, right? So it's just another excuse. But for the draft, I guess I'll have a new lens. Good point.
Yes,
I feel like. Oh, sorry.
Ryan, go ahead.
Oh yeah. I just feel like if you have to choose from Baker Mayfield, not Baker Mayfield, from Sam Howell or Carson Strong, you might as well choose the guy who has more tools, who has more potential.
Carson Strong can't move though. He can't run. Sam Howell can run. He ran for like 1 million.
Sam Howell can run, but he's like, he can't throw it over the offensive line.
Yeah, and also it's important.
Sam Howell's 6 feet tall.
Yeah, also it's important to remember with Sam Howell that he lost his top 2 receivers this past
Tyler's
year.
5'9".
Kyler's not.
Tyler is smaller than the cereal I ate this morning for breakfast. Sam Howell has an arm.
Carson Strong has a arm. I just want to show you guys my quarterback rankings. Like,
I don't really want to see them, to be honest.
I may be recorded, but you see that Sam
Howell. We didn't talk about
what's his name.
Desmond Ridder is horrendous. I don't get any of his hype.
Yeah, that's why he's 5.
He's horrendous, and Sam Howell's 6. It doesn't make any sense.
There's such a drop off after 4 in that list. I'm just saying.
I think Pickett might go first off the board, but I don't like the Pickett pick, because
I think Willis goes first.
You find him, you're settling for Pickett. If you draft Pickett in the first round, you're settling for him because he doesn't have a good arm. He's solid on the ground.
Big Ben doesn't have a good arm. He was
What's his
drafted-
ceiling?
Big Ben had a great
used to
arm.
have a great arm.
In his prime, he
Just
he
40
was-
years old.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Big Ben used to be like essentially Josh Allen back in his day.
Yeah,
Maybe a little less
mobile.
Josh
mobile.
Allen. I don't
But
think
he
had
played
that-
a similar style where he
Yeah.
just launched it
Take
down.
away Josh Allen's running
guess that's
ability.
true.
as far as-
Antonio Brown and Juju didn't post all those, or mostly Antonio Brown, but they didn't post crazy seasons for Big Ben doing checkdowns like he did this past season. So
Yeah.
I mean, Juju kind of like his pat, like those throws were like 15-yard slants, and then he ran for like another 60 yards. But still, I get what you're saying. I think it's time though to move on to other positions, other guys we like in the draft. I can start at, I don't know. I guess we can start offensive tackle because that's a big position. Although it's not a skill position, not a wide receiver, running back.
There's a lot of
quarterback.
talent at offensive tackle.
There's always a lot of talent. There's always teams taking offensive tackle super early. And that's simply for the reason that the better offensive linemen are tackles. So you can always move a tackle over to the guard, and they're going to be – tackles are just better than guards. And that is – I feel like that's just like
they're
general.
more important. You can't always
Yeah,
move
yeah.
them, but they're
I don't
more
know, but I feel like I'd rather have – I'd rather
you can't
have
move
four
like
tackles than
Trent
four guards.
Brown, like who's like a massive.
Yeah, but that's just
But
not
you-
how the life
but if you
works.
move him to guard, he's going to be as good at guard. It's just an easier –
I don't get the
play.
point of your I don't understand why you're making
Okay. Well, let's
all
act-
you have to say is that tackle has more positional value than a guard because they block from the edge. It is a harder position to play, and
but they still have to be
a worse
blocker.
tackle
That's why they
affects
can be
your
guards.
quarterback more than a worse guard. That is why a tackle is more important, because if your tackle is a liability, there's no one making up for him because he's the last man on the line.
I'm going to
Right?
disagree with
A
that.
guard is sandwiched in between a tackle and a center. That's why it's an easier position to play.
That's
And
not
that's why
the main reason,
tackle has
though.
more positional value, especially blindside tackle.
You
Where
blind tackles.
That is
Tackles just
all
have to do more
about
than guards.
preventing turnovers.
Tackles just have to do more than guards. I think that's just as simple as it is. And that if a tackle is put in guard, then they have to do less, and they have to focus on one thing or two things.
I don't know why we're disagreeing. I think we agree.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we agree then.
Okay.
All right, so let's go on to the. Okay, so should I just list the top guys, top
Just name all
tackles?
guys.
We have Ike Ekwonu. We have
Evan Neal.
our-
Evan
Evan
Neal,
Neal,
Charles
Trevor
Cross.
Henson. Wait, what's up? Wait, who
Charles Cross.
Charles Cross. Bunch of other guys. We have Daniel Fale. I don't know how to pronounce it.
No idea who you're talking
Some
about.
people watching it. The Minnesota tackle. I think it's like
Yeah,
16.
like
He's like
Oh,
literally.
Lele. I'm not positive.
I think it is like Fale, but yeah. Last year,
6'9", 400 pounds.
no, he's literally Mekhi Becton, but like not.
But bigger.
But worse because Mekhi
And
Becton
worse.
is a beast.
He is a beast. So last year, do you guys remember my tackle one last year?
Yeah.
Yes. Rashawn Slater.
We said it was Christian Darisaw for a while, but then you got
That is
Rashawn
totally
Slater.
false. Douglas come back to me, Jarvis. I don't know what you're saying.
No, I will
Sean
say.
Slater was my offensive
I don't know about
tackle.
He
Darisaw,
mixed up the
but
two for like
at the
2
end
months.
of in his final draft rankings, he did have Rashawn Slater as the OT1.
Yes.
So this year's draft, what do you guys think? Who's your favorite tackle? Maybe a tackle down the board, maybe like tackle 10, someone you like, or just your favorite tackle in this year's draft.
Well, I'll say guys at the top, because those are in play for the first overall pick potentially. I think both Evan Neal and Ike Ekwonu are both excellent prospects. Evan Neal comes from the Alabama system. They've consistently put out excellent alignment who are ready for the pros. And I think that his pedigree does help him a lot. He's obviously been a very dominant player throughout his whole college career, and has been looked at for a while as one of the top players in this draft class. So I think that would be a very safe and reliable pick. And I think that the teams at the top, such as the Jaguars and the Jets, who do need another tackle potentially, with Mekhi Becton's health issues, George Fant, who knows if he can be a starter in the future, although he was great this year, also getting older in age. So O-tackle and just making sure Zach Wilson's safe in the pocket is very important. So I think O-tackle is a big need for them, potentially at pick 4. And I think either Evan Neal or Ike Ekwonu, who's by all accounts an absolute monster a road grader, amazing blocker in the run game, solid in the pass game. Can move into guard also. She provides her versatility. Put him at right guard if you want to start both Fant and Becton next year for the Jets. So I think both of those guys, you can't get wrong with either. They're both excellent prospects.
I agree. I like Evan Neal because versatility, and that's why I'd give him the edge over Ike Ekwonu. Ike Ekwonu is probably like, I don't know, he's probably a little better, but I like versatility. So, yeah.
Evan Neal's going to be a bust. Said it here first. Alex Leatherwood came out of Alabama last year. I'm going to totally disagree with you, Douglas.
Yes, but he was also overdrafted. People didn't expect him to. He wasn't in that same vein.
Leatherwood was a second-round guy who got drafted by a
Jedrick Wills, for example.
But he was on the other side. I don't know.
I
don't know who played.
Ryan Kelly, the center, who's in Indiana, has done one of the top.
Everyone knew when Leatherwood was drafted that it was an obscene reach and terrible pick. Evan Neal, like he was mocked in the second round in these mock drafts that we're seeing today. Evan Neal's been mocked in the top 10. He's comparable to the level of Jonah Williams coming out a few years ago. Maybe not generational and saying Penei Sewell, sort of like that guy, or like the Mckay, Wirfs, Wilkes, Thomas class.
Alabama.
But he's like a Jonah Williams who's just going to probably be solid. I don't know.
Why are you taking Jonah Williams at number 1?
I'm just comparing him to like his.
Well, I think he'll
probably be better than Jonah Williams. People said Jonah Williams had arms like a T-Rex, little tiny arms.
I disagree, and that's why in my offensive tackle rankings, he's by a solid amount offensive tackle 3. My number 1 guy, not that much controversy. I'm sure you guys can flip-flop 1 and 2. Ike Ekwonu, I think he's the best. I think he's the best player right now, and I think offensive tackle at least. I think that position you don't draft for potential. He's the best guy now. He has the athletic ability to improve a solid amount. He can end up being the best tackle in the league in a few years. I think he can be that guy, and for that reason, he's my offensive tackle 1. But right behind him at number 2, honestly, he could be 1 for me. Maybe by the time of the draft, maybe he has a wonderful combine, performs well in his pro day. He will jump up to the number 1 spot. But we have Trevor Penning. This guy had an absolutely amazing Senior Bowl. Was amazing at it says Northern Illinois. I don't know what's
Iowa.
Oh,
Iowa.
wait. I don't think it's Iowa. It's definitely not Iowa.
Northern Iowa.
Northern Iowa. Oh, I thought you were saying Iowa.
No,
Northern Iowa. Who's great there. Obviously, they're not in the
UNI, University of Northern.
Yeah, I need to make sure.
University of Northern Iowa. They're not in the SEC. They're not in the Big Ten. However, he was the best blocker in all of college, and showed that against Big Ten talent, SEC talent in the Senior Bowl, he could block top tier edge rushers, and for that reason, he's my favorite guy. Although I did rank Ike Ekwonu over him, I do feel like he's viewed like probably late first round now. I do feel like his value is probably the best, and I feel like he should be taken maybe like between 1 or 2 picks from Ike Ekwonu.
I have such a problem with this, and it's not because I think Trevor Penning is going to be bad by any means. It's because people just get on such highs after like Senior Bowl practices and this and that. Like, no one was chirping. Maybe it's because he played at a small school.
It's not only that.
He's the best blocker in college football, and you didn't watch a single Northern Iowa game all season. So
I don't think any besides like the actual GMs, I think the announcers, ESPN, all those guys, I don't think they're watching any Northern Iowa games.
They're watching the film afterwards. And I think that you have a tendency to just read tweets on the Senior Bowl and then say like, oh, like this guy's a ton of grit.
I'm watching the Senior Bowl.
I'm just gonna be feisty today. I'm gonna feel dangerous, and I'm gonna put Trevor Penning as like the number 1 tackle in the draft, or maybe like
I did it number 2.
Oh, Jermaine Johnson is the best edge rusher. So I just think you have a tendency to do that, and I'm not saying he's bad. I think he's really good. Like, I liked what they were saying about him in the Senior Bowl too, but I'm not gonna uproot everything else just to say he's the number 1 guy, number 2 guy.
I mean, I haven't seen like that many guys who are like that late that you like, so I don't know.
But he's not late.
He's at the same time, he's not like talked about as the best tackle.
Yeah, but the only basis of saying he is because he had a good Senior Bowl practice.
Who's also the best blocker in all of college football. And
According to
How
him.
do you know?
according to PFF, according to like general people who talk football, watch college football. PFF is there's nothing else you can like say. PFF, like, they grade plays. I don't care about their Fugazi system. There's nothing else that's better. Like once
Well,
better.
they also
Wow.
have. Well, yes, it is a good system. It is.
No, I'll believe that's a good evidence. Good job to support your point. Like, that's I'm sure he was great.
No, I mean he has very. I mean he has been very good. Like he wouldn't be that high of a prospect if he was a small school who was only okay. So he clearly had a very great, very strong career, but his competition level is very different than a guy like Evan Neal or Kwanu. So it's going to be interesting to see how he fares in the NFL.
Great. Let's move to edge rusher.
Edge rusher.
Okay.
I guess. I mean, on the fence, like our go-to phrase, I guess edge rusher. I feel like you guys or like
KT versus Teddy Bear Hutch, and I don't know. That's my answer. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because they're both. I don't know. Like you think of like Hutch, who's like you're like a white edge rusher who's like fundamentally sound and a stud. You think of like your Bosa's. Then you think of like KT, and he's like, I don't know. He reminds me of like a stronger Brian Burns who's just gonna fly off the edge. And I don't know. I like him.
Quick.
I think he's gonna be really good. I don't know why he's falling now too. Like,
yeah.
Just fake narrative.
I think you're forgetting someone. I'm pretty sure you're forgetting someone.
I'm not forgetting anyone.
You're forgetting someone. You're forgetting
George Karlaftis.
You're forgetting the best edge rusher in the class. You're forgetting Jermaine Johnson. You're forgetting
Jermaine Johnson,
the best edge rusher in this class. Dominates on the field every single play. He runs over offensive tackles.
He's great.
He runs over guards too while he's at it. He runs over two guys at once.
Yeah.
And this guy, I know Ryan hates when I talk about the Senior Bowl, but at the Senior Bowl, practice 2 days. He was so good. Didn't even need to finish the last practice.
Yeah.
Didn't even need
all
to
he
play
talks
the
about
game.
is the
He
Senior
left.
Bowl because that's all that matters.
But he didn't play the Senior Bowl
every
game.
single Senior Bowl stud.
Well, there's been nothing else yet. The combine.
But yes, no.
Oh no, there's been nothing else except an entire college season to evaluate a player. And Jermaine Johnson was great, but he wasn't better than Thibodeau, and he wasn't better than Hutchinson. He was better than Karlaftis. He was better. Ojabo didn't play. Who knows what Ojabo is? But he wasn't better than. He definitely wasn't better than Hutchinson. Thibodeau was hurt, but he definitely wasn't better than Hutchinson, who put up 15 and a half sacks.
There's a strong argument.
People like to hate on Hutchinson because he got pancaked by a Georgia tackle on one play, and it went viral.
We don't have to agree on who the top on the top edge is, but Jermaine Johnson is a top 5 pick in the draft. And I'm never going to say he's not because he is.
Well, he won't go top 5, so it doesn't matter what you say.
I don't know about that. Honestly.
He may not go top 25.
I'll bet with you on this podcast right now.
I don't want to bet.
I'll make 10.
There's a strong argument. He's
probably not going to go top 5. He's probably not going to go top 5. However, I feel like he should go top 5.
In my opinion, he's the 3rd best at his position. So
there's an argument that he's the 5th or 6th best at there too.
I think he's definitively the 3rd best at his position.
I think I wouldn't say definitively, but I think that if you
were an NFL team, would you take him over Thibodeau and Hutchinson? If you were an NFL GM?
I would take him easily over Thibodeau, although I believe that Thibodeau.
Yes or no? Would you take him over Hutchinson?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I would comfortably take him over Hutchinson. However, because of the ranking, I would trade back because I don't feel like when you have.
I know a guy at Foot Locker. When you get fired from your GM job, I'll give you a job at Foot Locker. So you look great in the record.
Oh, so funny. So funny. I mean, we'll see. Even after this year, like Micah Parsons was actually talked about. He actually fell a bit though, because like they had like character issues, all those things.
He was drafted as a linebacker too.
Yeah. No. I'm not comparing them as like players, but they're both defensive players who I feel like can win Defensive Player of the Year as a rookie.
Hutchinson seeing a similar narrative surrounding Parsons leading up to the draft that he had like character concerns and this and that. And I think maybe for Parsons it was valid, but like I don't see any legitimate reason that like Thibodeau has like character concerns or that. So.
I feel like Parsons, his like character issues were like sort of like a joke. Like he's just like a like a funny guy who likes to joke
He
around.
just like hazed some freshmen.
He what?
I think he hazed freshmen.
I guess. But like, I mean,
And
I
he's
guess
like that was like a mistake on his part, but I think he's 100% a football guy. Like he
yeah,
wasn't like running with the law kind of guy, but maybe he like
No,
made some
yeah.
dumb decisions on campus but he's 100% football guy. So.
yeah. Thibodeau, on the other hand, I think he just made like a comment during an interview, like saying that like, oh, I went to Oregon because I don't want like an Alabama education, saying that University
Great
of
comment.
Alabama
Yeah, super
was
smart.
not the best academically,
right.
which I don't know, maybe I don't know. And he just said a few other things, not like bad like that though. Like he's a nice guy. I'm pretty sure. Don't know him personally, obviously. I'm not. I don't go to the University of Oregon, and yeah. Oh,
Yeah, Ryan. Also, I remember you telling me about this guy named Boyer Mafe.
that was in my head.
Senior Bowl.
I was gonna say
Why
another
don't
guy.
you tell us a little about him? Because I don't know much about him. I heard from you a lot of high praise. So
For sure, University of Minnesota edge rusher. This guy, like, I don't think he's like, I wouldn't call him like a Thibodeau, Jermaine Johnson, like athletically, although he's an athletic freak, like compared to like the normal person. Edge rusher, I would say he's probably slightly above average. He's not one of the guys who you're drafting for like maximum potential because he has all these athletic traits because he's super fast, super strong. He's again, like I said, above average, but he just seemed to just dominate during the Senior Bowl game. I don't like him as much as like Jermaine Johnson.
Love the Senior Bowl.
It's the only thing to judge. The Senior Bowl and like stats and like a few
film and games that they
watch
actually
film on
played.
But it's impossible
like the football
though.
games that they
But it's
played.
impossible to judge, I think, off like regular season college football because it's like conference play. It's like University of Minnesota, obviously they're in
That's
a
the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
He's in the Big Ten. He plays against top.
Shouldn't you
Yeah,
evaluate
Big Ten.
football
But-
players
but-
based off football
But
games?
half these people are freshmen, sophomore. The Senior Bowl is all seniors, all guys who are going to get
You
drafted.
are evaluating football players based off football games. That is the best way to evaluate players.
Correct.
I
The
shouldn't be
Senior Bowl
evaluating.
the
I
Senior
shouldn't
Bowl has
evaluate.
the most premium NFL talent compared to a
You
regular.
want me to
college
evaluate
game,
football
which half
players
the guys
based on
aren't
like
getting
how many
drafted.
Fortnite wins they have or something like that? Like, it doesn't make any sense. You evaluate football players based off football games.
Yeah, Ryan. You lost me there also. I think.
Okay. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it's that. I'm just saying like there's. So
I don't know what you're saying, but
Okay,
I would
wait.
stop
Let me
saying.
explain. Let me explain. There's so many football games. It's impossible to watch every single college football game. The
Yeah,
Senior
great.
Bowl-
Great. That's why there's a thing called film. Film. It's so beautiful.
and you can
just
watch film.
every snap of a guy.
I'm just saying the easiest thing to do is watch a Senior Bowl, which all the top guys play. All the top, or I guess. not the
But that's
top.
ignoring the actual games that they played, which is what
Yeah, and
matters.
also, like, we're not arguing the Senior Bowl.
That's
isn't
how you
important,
translate
'cause it
players
is
to the
very
NFL
important.
because it's a football game. That's what they
But
play.
so is the Senior Bowl.
One
The
week
Senior
of
Bowl's a game. They're
practice
trying
and
their
one
hardest to
game.
impress scouts.
I know, but it's set up like it's a show. It's like a TV set because they have a system. They learn it for 4 days and then they play in a game. They get limiting playing time. There might be a scheme they don't like.
Yeah, but
right?
it tests their football IQ. It tests how quickly they're able to.
But you know what tests
Yes.
everything better than that is
Being in the
every
actual
game they
game.
played or along the regular season because that's
With every
actually
game
them.
though, it's like it's so much easier. I'm just saying, it's so much easier to watch.
Good
this-
thing NFL executives aren't lazy.
Yes, I would.
That's
Second
amazing.
that.
I
will
mean,
second that.
I'm just saying, if I was an NFL exec, I wouldn't only watch the Senior
Maybe that's why you're
Bowl.
not.
From our point of view, it's easier to just watch the Senior Bowl and get takes off that. Like, I don't think you guys are watching all of that.
Yeah, that's convenient, but being convenient isn't always intelligent, right?
But based off what we all have time for,
It's
based off
convenient to go like pop like Easy Mac in the microwave, but it might take longer to cook up like roast chicken and rice, but it's healthier and better for you, right? So what's convenient and isn't always what's better, right?
but when you,
Right?
Correct.
I agree.
Say yes, and we'll move on.
Correct.
But you can
No,
sit-
but yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Ryan. Of course, the Senior Bowl is important for all of the reasons you said, but seeing them how they react in important games for their team and how they interact with their teammates and just play in actual games as well.
You
It's
say good points for the wrong reason.
very important, and it should not be discarded or counted against someone.
You don't disagree because we're right. You can't disagree
Okay.
with facts.
all I know is that Greg Dulich, Jermaine Johnson, two guys who are going to be amazing on the next level in the NFL, and hopefully in New York Jets uniforms.
That was a nice section wrapping up the combine. So
Yeah. Actually, I have one more person I want to highlight. If you can just do it quickly. Linebacker out of Wyoming, named Chad Mumma. He's kind of kind of in a second tier considered after like the Devin Lloyds and the Kobe Deans of this draft, who are like the guys getting the most media push as like the top linebackers in the class. But this is like what Mumma has really, from what I've read about him and I haven't seen much, but from what I've seen and read, really sounds like a very good player. He's played at a smaller school, Wyoming, with not the best competition, but he had a ton of stats. He led all college football in solo tackles. This past season, he's rangy. He can cover very well. He had 3 picks. Was a DB in high school, so has that background. Hard hitter. Seems like a complete package kind of guy who may not be perfect everywhere, but is good at a lot of things. Can be a true 3-down linebacker, and I think being overlooked and not considered where he should be in this linebacker class.
I know nothing about him, so good analysis.
I mean, just hearing your take, I feel like he sounds like a solid guy. But again, it's hard to gauge guys.
It is hard.
From Wyoming.
Correct.
From NIU. I'm gonna say like Trevor Penning, but obviously, yeah, sounds like a great guy. I'm assuming he's dominating competition at Wyoming.
Yes.
And
yeah, exactly.
Maybe he does the next level. I don't know.
We'll see. Josh Allen, Logan Wilson. Right. They've had some big guys come out recently.
Gag, Josh Allen.
The quarterback.
Yes.
I don't know if we have anything else to talk about. I feel like
That's it. Signing out.
Yeah.
Ryan likes the quick exit goodbye. So I don't know what a formal outro is, but make sure to smash the like button. If you're on TikTok though, I mean, you wouldn't be watching this on TikTok because we're probably not going to clip this part. But if you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Comment your takes on this stuff if you're still watching.
And go find us on TikTok also.
Oh, yeah. TikTok, OTF Pod. I think that's our username, right? Or maybe it's OTF Podcast. It'll be in the description.
It'll be in the description.
Click on it. And yeah, check it out. Peace.
I thank you.